set for the main event. Michael Gold Rush laid out in gold with a big test in front of him tonight, Teddy, against Lights Out Toney. How do you set it up with Atlas as well? Up to the challenge. He is 6'2" tonight, 188 pounds, but that's a sliding number because he has fought anywhere from 156 to over 200 pounds. Rush is now 23-5-1 with 13 knockouts. In his last 5, he's taken advantage of mid-level competition, winning 3 straight, as you can see right there. As for James Lights Out Toney, now 33 years old. At 5'9", he gives up 5 inches to Rush, but look at the experience edge. Top 10 rated cruiser, 63-4-2 now, with, of course, 40 knockouts over his long career. In his last 5, Toney has stayed active and keeps winning. It's been a roller coaster ride of weight, though. He was 226 for that win over Wesley Martin. The referee for Toney and Rush is Mike Fisher. And let's take a look at the Chinook Wins boxing rules.
You guys ready?
The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. There is no standing 8 count. Only the referee may stop this fight. The fighter cannot be saved by the belt in any round. And in the case of an accidental foul, we will go to the scorecards after 3 rounds are complete.
Where's the timekeeper?
James Toney, Teddy. There's no denying the attitude that he carries, and he wants to get back in that mix of being respected for the skills that he has and what he has done during his illustrious career.
Well, he's got his game face on tonight, and he's also got a little extra luggage around the midsection. I don't know if it's going to matter, though. We talk about intangibles. You hear it a lot of times. One thing I'll go out on the line and say right now, an intangible: cuts. Rush has been cut before, and I'm not talking about your little razor cuts like when you're shaving. When he's been cut seriously. So he's going to have to avoid that if he's going to have any chance of pulling off the old upset with Toney. Rush was cut his last fight 2 months ago over his right eye. So how well healed is that?
And the guy that started the issues with a cut over the right eye for Michael Rush is the guy that'll step into the ring tomorrow night against Evander Holyfield. Back in 1999, Hasim Rahman just rocked him, opened up a huge gash over Michael Rush's right eye, and they had to stop that fight in the 5th round.
You saw my fight plan, how I think it's going to lay out for the fighters. Looks like both fighters are following it just a little bit. Rush knows he must use those legs. He must not stand in front of the great counterpunching, and yes, great counterpunching, Toney. He must punch and move. Not doing a lot of punching, but he is moving right now, Rush. He must not do this. He must not just cover up. Rush has a habit of doing that.
Solid body shots by James Toney, and then taking one upstairs against Michael Rush.
Yes, the fight plans, the game plans are laying out. They're very clear. Rush wants to keep Toney off balance. Toney needs to be set to get off. But Rush has the habit of once in a while, he'll cover up. He'll put those earmuffs on, Joe, and he'll just get himself really locked up. Put those hands up, lay there like this. He must not do too much of that. Toney wants to go to that body. Take the air out. Take those legs away from Rush. Make Rush have to stand in front and let Toney do what he does, which is pick a man apart when you stand in front.
James Toney making a big target out of the body of Michael Rush. And that's not where he needs to be, Teddy, not at all.
And he gives you that. He has a habit, a bad habit, I believe, Rush, of doing that in spots when he wants to rest, when he wants to go on the defensive, when he doesn't feel he can keep on his legs on that bicycle. He'll just cover up, give you a little too much instead of moving his head.
Solid first round from the former 2-time world champ, James Toney.
Okay, there we go. Okay, right here.
Welcome back to our main event. James Lights Out Toney against Michael Rush. I'm Joe Tessitore, joined ringside by Teddy Atlas. Talk about a late sub. We wish the best to Bob Papa and his wife, who are back on the East Coast. I took a 6 o'clock flight out of here this morning because they are expecting their 3rd child, Teddy.
Yes, partner. Good luck to you and your wife, Jennifer. Looking for the 3rd addition to your beautiful family. I'm sure your 2 sons are very excited, waiting for the new sister or brother to be brought on. And right now, Rush not waiting for anything, getting off and moving. I think the key is going to be, can Rush be consistent with the game plan, the fight plan he needs to employ if he's going to win? Can he move and punch? Not just move. You just move. Toney will find you. He will track you down. There will be nothing to deter him. You must score and move. And you must make up your mind. Do you want to survive by just moving? Or do you want to win the fight by punching and moving?
Well, he's got to let the hands go, Teddy. In that first round, it was pure blowout, 65-15, and punches thrown by James Toney.
Well, right now, Rush trying to counterpunch to counterpunch. In other words, Toney coming a little bit out of his identity. He can go get you, but he likes to counter. He likes guys come at him, he'll take him apart. Now he's got to go after Rush. He's got to make the fight. Rush on the bicycle a little bit. So Rush has a chance to try to catch Toney coming in.
Teddy, let me ask you this. The James Toney that we saw in 92, 93, 94 with the ultimate skills against Barkley and Prince Charles Williams back in his more svelte days, does he still have those skills, but what we're seeing is a product of added weight and lack of discipline? Or do you see his skills having eroded through the years at all?
That's a good question. You know, big difference from a fighter like Toney and a fighter like Muhammad Ali or maybe Lloyd Jones as he gets older later on, or Prince Ahmed. See, Lloyd Jones maybe is a little bit of an exception, but those other 2 fighters, Ali, Prince Ahmed, they depended on their reflexes, their God-given speed, in Ahmed's case, power, not so much on taught technique. And as they got older, they lost that advantage. They lost that God-given talent. They lost those reflexes, those physical skills, and they went down because of that. Of course, Ali was able to hang on because of his character. But Toney has good technique, and technique stays with you. It has a long shelf life to it. So even when you get older, you still know how to do it. And Toney still knows how to do it.
And he's outpacing Michael Rush here. Round number 3 from Lincoln City, Oregon. James Toney in the green, Michael Rush in the gold. Gold Rush looking to get something accomplished here against the highly rated cruiserweight James Toney, who just landed a good left hand to Rush's side.
Well, if you're going to move all the time, there's going to be opportunities to score with a counterpuncher or counterpunch, because your opponent will get a little anxious coming after you as you're moving, as Toney did. And Rush got an opportunity to throw a little bit of a sneaky counter left hook. But that's not enough to carry the fight. He has to be a little bit more consistent offensively if he's going to win this fight. Battle plans are there, but Joe, no doubt about it. Rush wants to move. Toney wants to cut that ring down. When he gets close, wants to go to the body. Take the air out. Take those legs away from Rush.
Fighting off those ropes is going to be very important for Michael Rush, Teddy, and covering up like that is where he can get himself into a little bit of trouble.
And there's one other thing. It's obvious Toney wants to cut the ring down on the moving Rush, wants to go to the body, take the air out, as we've said, but he must use that jab, stabilize Rush, keep Rush from picking his spots. And that's what Toney's trying to do. Keep Rush in control. Don't let him snipe at you. Don't let him pot shot you. Use that jab. Keep something on him.
Here at the Chinook Winds Casino, this is truly a James Toney ring. Small square tonight, folks. Barely 16 by 16 inside those ropes.
see, I think, Toney a little bit more steady when Rush gives him those opportunities like now.
And there's that counter left hand followed up with a right.
When Rush goes on the ropes, this is where you'd like to see Toney not wait for the opening. He's waiting for it right now. I'm sure Freddie Roach, the former fighter, the terrific trainer who trains Toney, will tell James, when you get inside with Rush, don't wait for the openings, create them. But if Toney doesn't create them, and he knows how, you know what you would have to think? You know what I would think a little bit, Joe? Maybe Toney is not in top shape. Otherwise, what would stop him from working a little harder?
James Toney did not come in at the contracted 195 pounds for this fight. But that doesn't mean that he can't do damage like this. We are through 3 rounds from Lincoln City. James Toney and Michael Rush.
ESPN has the sports you love to.
So far, James Toney has looked solid through 3 rounds. I think his trainer, Freddie Roach, is probably pleased with the game plan and pleased with work against the ropes and to the body like that, Teddy Atlas.
And right here, I'm going to make it real simple. It's not how much Toney can do. It's how much he wants to do. It's there. It's there. Rush isn't taking it away from him. If anyone takes it away, it'll be Toney. Rush is coming up, but he's not moving his head. If Toney is inventive, he will get through. If he is persistent, it's up to Toney. Right now, Toney, his instinct, his nature, his temperament, he doesn't want to just pick away at a guy. He wants a guy to leave himself open. Look at it. Toney's waiting for Rush to come in so Toney can do that old counterpunching stuff.
Let's bring in Freddie Roach, famed trainer in Los Angeles. Freddie, Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you here. What do you see so far out of James Toney?
James is doing okay. He needs to move his head after his combination a little bit because Rush is counterpunching pretty well. But I think he's in control of the situation, and hopefully we get this guy out of there pretty soon.
Yeah, Freddie, Teddy here, and you just said it. Rush is counterpunching. That's about all he's doing. He's looking for sneak shots, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Just looking for that one lucky shot, and it shouldn't happen with James. James should be too slick for that.
Freddie, I got 2 questions. First one is Rush, when he covers up, when he puts those earmuffs on, he leaves himself very open. I think it's up to Toney how much he wants to do. It's not a matter of whether or not he can get to him. It's a matter of he wants to stay there and create the openings. The second question, is Toney in the kind of shape to get in there and want to create the openings?
I believe James is in shape for this fight. He's been running, and he's a lot more disciplined now than he's been in the past. His weight came in a couple pounds heavy, but it's a lot better than it's been. But you're right, the guys get the earmuffs on, and James can take advantage of it. And I'm going to have him work that body a little bit more, try to break this guy down and get him out of there a little bit later.
In other words, don't wait for the openings like you say all the time. Create them.
Yeah, you got to make the opening. It's there to be made, and James needs to set it up.
Freddie Roach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, Fred.
James Toney having a field day here in the 4th round, Teddy, just doing whatever he wants to do.
Well, he has a good co-pilot in that corner, and Mr. Freddie Roach. Fights also come down not only to talent and technique and style, but to desire. Right now, Rush doesn't have the desire to win the rounds. Not yet.
James Toney cruising through 4 rounds in cruiserweight action here, scheduled for 10 against Michael Rush. We talked to Freddie Roach, Teddy, in that last round. Had a nice exchange with him, and in between rounds, he shared something with Lights Out Toney.
Oh, yes, he did. He knows what to say. This is a real trainer, not a guy who throws a towel over his shoulder. He said, don't wait for things to happen, James. Make them happen. 100% right, at least I believe.
Teddy, can't help but look at your Atlas's World when you set up our main event here, and you said, hey, James Toney has to take the air out of Michael Rush, go to the body. Michael Rush has to not stand in front. He has to be able to use his legs. Well, those two go hand in hand And we've seen the worst case scenario for Michael Rush on that front, and probably the best case for James Toney.
And one other little thing there, Michael Rush must make up his mind, which he's doing a better job this round. Does he want to go rounds, or does he want to win the fight?
Well, Freddie Roach felt he's looking for the one lucky shot.
Oh, well, he was into this round. This round he's being a little bit more professional, Rush. Moving his hands, fighting a little bit more steady. How many rounds can he put together? If there is a flaw with Toney, sometimes you admire his defense a little too much, Joe. He'll go into that defensive stuff, give you a chance to get off. Right now, Toney's been doing a little of that. Little blocking, a little slipping, a little parrying. Allow Rush to get his hands moving. But don't wait around after you're finished, because then Toney might come back, find you, drop a little something on you, called a TNT counterpunch. There's a nice counterpunch, right hand. Caught Rush reaching a little bit. See, this is where Toney needs to stay in there. Once again, it's not a matter of how much he can do when he gets Rush on the ropes. It's what he wants to do.
At any point here, Teddy, do you expect what he wants to do is to step it up and not look for the opening, but make it himself?
You never know with James Toney. Sometimes he likes to have fun. Sometimes he wants to just get some rounds in. And sometimes if he's not in top shape, he can be cute, he can be coy. He can slow that pace down a little bit, stretch it out. Work when he wants to work. See Toney telling Rush, come on. Yeah, Toney wants to get a counterpunch opportunity. He wants to get a little help.
Tough to do against James Toney with all those skills. Michael Rush halfway through, and he's being shut out.
Where's the cage? Very much doesn't need a cage. And this
Round number 6. James Toney in the green. Michael Rush, Gold Rush, of course, in the gold. And so far, one would have to think this is a complete shutout by James Toney. His overwhelming skills, his ability to counter. He's gotten Rush in trouble on the ropes, and he showed some defensive skills. In the last round alone, James Toney threw 80 punches, landing 24. He was picking his spots. He was able to do as he pleased.
But Rush did step it up that last round. Give him credit.
Yeah, he committed to it. He committed to not sitting back and being more aggressive in that last round. It has to be such a tough challenge, though, Teddy, to think aggressively against such a superior counterpuncher, because your mindset is, what's going to happen at the point of me releasing these hands?
That's what makes them tentative. Because when they throw, you can land. They're not worried about throwing too much. But when you miss, oh, that can be a different proposition. As you said, you leave yourself open. And when you think you got something good, like offense going, and you're the man, you're taking the initiative, a second later, that punch can hit air, and something comes back and hits your chin.
And I see on your scorecard, you were looking for a chance to reward Rush, and you gave it to him. You liked the aggressiveness in the last round.
And like, he finally decided to fight, not just survive. But he has to put rounds together. James Toney been around too long.
There's some of that attitude we've talked about through the years.
You don't like to see that. Don't like to see that.
There's some that would describe him as militant. You heard what he had to say prior to our main event. He doesn't have a care for the mainstream boxing establishment. He wants to shut him up and get his respect. Well, that's not going to, things like that are not going to get it done.
Right now, James Toney turning southpaw for a second. This is where Toney needs to use that jab, just to stabilize Rush. There it is.
Well, look at how easily he can position him where he wants at times.
It's up to Toney. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. When Rush puts those earmuffs on, which he just did, it's up to Toney how much he wants to take advantage of that, how much he wants to do, not what he can do.
And a good right hand by Michael Rush, and James Toney is playing it off. and having a little fun with it.
Rush can get spots that way. He goes defensive so long that sometimes you don't expect him to pop in there.
Little wake-up call from Michael Rush in round 6.
Bottom right-hand corner, just before the end of the round, Rush tried to catch the attention of the judges with that right hand. He's moving, then he jumps in, caught Toney by surprise. Also, that water in the hair of Toney really exaggerates the punch.
7th round here, James Toney. He was asked to pick up the pace by Freddie Roach. Freddie said, let's get to work on this guy, which he's doing right here, going to the body. Don't get lazy on me. Nothing lazy about James Toney in the opening stanza of round 7 here.
Well, Freddie knows. It's not, again, I'll say it again, it's not what Toney can do. It's what he wants to do. What he wants his work rate to be. Toney got his feet stepped on. Now, the only thing Toney has to be careful of, really, is spots. Rush fights in spots, like right here. And Toney, I said it earlier, sometimes he admires his defense a little too long. Gives you a chance to get off. Rush is taking advantage of that defensive posturing right now by Toney.
Teddy, is the conditioning playing a factor at this point of this fight?
It's a good question. It's a factor to the point of how much Toney wants to take it to the next point. It's a factor of how much Toney wants to step it up and do the things that maybe can really push Rush downhill.
Well, I don't think there's a question in the talent and skill gap in this fight. But will it keep up as we come down the stretch run?
It comes down to Toney giving life to Rush, allowing Rush to get a little confidence because of this.
Right
the spots
hand
where
by
Toney
Rush.
does not work. Maybe because of conditioning. Also the temperament of Toney. Toney has that temperament where he'll go into his defense sometimes a little bit too long. Give you a chance to have moments. Now, I was saying it earlier. Main thing Toney has to be careful. 2 things. One is spots, and the other is to get caught with a sneak punch. You know, Rush goes defensive so long that sometimes that can really work out to be an ally in a weird way for Rush because you don't expect him to punch, but you have to expect him. You're in the ring. You must expect punches to come, even when they don't come all the time.
But it's easy to go to sleep against a guy like Michael Rush. Through 7 rounds, there were only 2 where he landed double digits, but there's that lunging right again that connects to the head of James Toney.
But you know why? Because Toney went into his defensive posture too soon. He made the slip from too far away. If he would have been ready to punch, he would have caught Rush coming in. Rush never would have threw that punch. Toney laid himself out on that clothesline a little too much.
Now, James Toney thinks he's having fun. Michael Rush isn't laughing. There's James Toney, 2-time champion of the world. He's looking for another title shot at cruiserweight. He has to keep winning, he has to stay active, and he has to look good against Michael Rush to convince those in the boxing biz that he is worthy of it. We are into round 8. Toney early on controlled the pace. Michael Rush woke up in the middle rounds. And we have 3 to go here in Lincoln City, Oregon.
Here goes Rush into that little alley stuff, using his legs, but he doesn't keep it up. He'll put the handcuffs on. He'll put the earmuffs on. That's where it's up to Toney. Both these fighters do fight in spots. You notice that, Joe? Only thing is, Toney's spots are a little better.
He's a much more efficient fighter, Teddy.
Toney's looking to catch Rush now. He's laying in that pocket in the eye of the storm, and he's inviting Rush to throw. Toney, I don't think he's in top shape. He doesn't want to go find Rush. Look at him. He's just waiting for Rush. Come on, come into my parlor, says the Spider to the Beetle.
Well,
Trying to get Rush to bite.
I don't think there's any doubt about it that at 198 pounds, this is not a prime James Toney, but we are so far away from seeing a well-conditioned James Toney that we've probably lost touch with what that looks like, too.
But he still knows how to fight.
Does he ever?
arguably one of the best out there, James Toney.
What would you make of
He's got an attitude like a fighter, like an old-timer. He'll fight anybody.
What would you make of a Toney-Vasily Jarov matchup, Teddy?
Good fight. Good matchup. The slick experience and the slickness and the counter-punching style of Toney against the real determination, the busy work rate of Jarov. And Jarov has that body punching that can work against the slickster, a guy who moves his head. That would be an interesting fight.
The stuff we heard earlier out of James Toney in our main event preview, where he's calling out Roy Jones, I would have to think that that is so far in the rear view mirror and so unrealistic.
Toney's looking for spots here, Joe. Toney's hoping that Rush will lay in there too long and Toney will catch him in between. But in the meantime, Toney's letting Rush have a good spot.
Rush has picked up the pace, landed a couple lefts. Toney countered with a left and does so again there.
Tony's giving it to him. Tony's going defensive too long. He's not listening to Freddie right now. He's good corner man, Freddie Roach. Freddie wanted him to keep that work rate up. Not wait for Rush to come to him.
Can Michael Rush steal some rounds late here? He's trying. Tour and Teddy Atlas with you from the Chinook Winds Casino in Lincoln City, Oregon, where the pace has picked up here in this cruiserweight battle between the two veterans, James Toney and Michael Rush. Rush came alive a little bit there in round number 8, Teddy, and you had to like what you saw with the last minute.
In other words, what you're saying, boxing terms, is Rush is gaining confidence. Confidence that's being given to him by the exploits of Toney, by the attitude of Toney, to let him have spots.
Teddy, your scorecard through 8 rounds, 78-74 Toney. 5 and 8 were the rounds where Michael Rush came on in your eyes and was the aggressor.
Part of the reason that Rush gets his confidence up a little bit as this fight goes on is on the inside. When Toney gets in there, he is not, as Freddie asked him, creating opportunities. He's waiting for them. He is not damaging the body quite enough. There's a good sneak counter left hook of Toney. See, Toney's in his parlor now. So Toney's just looking. He's got the vision on, and he's looking to see when Rush throws if he can catch him in between. But sometimes he waits a little too long, and Rush can hustle.
He's timing him well now.
Well, Toney's looking.
And Rush
See that
walked
counter?
right into a counter right hand from James Toney.
A little bit of slip to the right, and then come back with the right hand. Toney's always on the watch for a counter punch.
And he can counter from positions that you wouldn't think he would be able to get much leather on there with.
He's always ready. What he's not ready to do is take it to the next level and put them together. Not in top shape, Toney, but still knows how to do what you have to do to win a fight.
Under a minute to go in round number 9. James Toney jumped out to a big lead. Michael Rush came on in the middle rounds and has shown some activity here.
See, this is where Rush is going to be sorry after this fight, maybe. That he gave away so many early rounds, Joe, just by being defensive. That he didn't push and make Toney work harder. And therefore be even more spent late in the fight. And he wouldn't be so far behind. Toney having that moment now, having that spot now. And why is he having a spot here, Toney?
Solid left hands by James Toney as Michael Rush just covers up with the ear mitts.
That's right.
And doesn't get his legs underneath him.
You're the best fighter in the world. Show the world. Show the world right now, son. Let's go, JT.
Teddy, you heard it. knock this guy out, show the world what you're all about. Does he have it in him?
Hey, who said Freddie Roach is just a mild-mannered former fighter that looks like a professor? The smart Freddie Roach, he's spunky. He knows how to light a fire. He knows that James Toney must not only win, but he wants to get attention. He wants to get that exclamation point. He wants to knock doors down and make people come to the table and give him that title fight.
You know, Teddy, if James Toney wants the things that he screams for, that's exactly what he needs to do. You can't sit here and talk about Vasily Girov and scream about Roy Jones fighting dead guys if you're not willing to go out there and show the world something.
Right now, Toney not putting the pedal to the metal, just picking spots, knowing that he has a defensive-minded guy in front of him, knowing he can get away with spots. Toney needs to cut the ring down, not follow Rush.
And Michael Rush could really use a mouthpiece in this last round.
Yeah, that's nice of his corner to give it to him. A little late, but that happens sometimes in the excitement in the corner. People forget. Right now, Toney must not forget to stay here, inside, not go outside. Once again, been there all night long, Joe. It's not what Toney can do when he gets inside with Rush. When Rush covers up, it's what he wants to do, how much he wants to do. There's the counter shot. Now watch Toney. Oh,
good
body
left.
shot.
Good,
Mickey Ward body
left
shot.
to the head, and then the big left hook to the liver.
But look at the way he set it up. Head first.
Head first and down low.
That's what Mickey Ward does.
Beautiful work to the body by James Toney, and Freddie Roach is seeing exactly what he wants out of James Toney.
Freddie's a good trainer, isn't he? Woke up Toney, sent him out there with a mission. What's going on here? He didn't make it clear about
Mike Fisher,
what's he doing?
wants to look things over. Is he stopping the fight, or is he taking a standing aim?
No, he didn't make it clear.
He's not making it clear at all. He's talking to the corner. He's got to be stopping the fight.
I told him.
That's it. That's it. A TKO as Mike Fisher comes out of nowhere, doesn't look things over, and just stops the fight in the 10th round. A TKO win for James Toney. Teddy, what did you think of what Mike Fisher just did right there?
Well, it looked like we were in the gym, and he just assumed that we would know that the fight was being stopped because the other guy wasn't fighting back.
Didn't even wave it off.
He didn't make it clear. No doubt about it. I mean, no doubt that Rush was having a hard time in there with those body shots. He was going downhill. Toney had enough time to get rid of him. But the referees decided that time was now.
Well, we're going to catch up with James Toney and hear his side of this. A TKO win for Lights Out Toney. He improves to 64-4-2 with 41 knockouts.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.